And a very good morning to you. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday morning with us. Dr. William Berry assumed the presidential duties at Slippery Rock University this past summer. Slippery Rock is part of Pennsylvania's state system of higher education, which has faced severe state funding issues for some time. It boasts a campus population of about 9,000 students. What are some of those funding challenges, and why does Slippery Rock remain a welcome foundation of higher learning in the 21st century? We welcome Dr. William Berry to the Sunday Business Page. Doctor, great to have you on the show.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
You know, everybody knows the name Slippery Rock out here in Western Pennsylvania, but I don't know that we always can identify exactly what kind of an institution of higher learning Slippery Rock is. So again, Bill, this is your chance.
Well, Slippery Rock's evolved over time. It began in the late 1800s as a normal school, and that was a school designed for teacher preparation. And for many years, it held a very solid reputation as a teacher preparation school.
Right.
Now, we still do teacher preparation, we still do a great job, but now it's somewhere between 25 and 30% of our students, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah, we're now a full comprehensive university. So what does that mean? It means you can have a liberal arts education if you choose, you could have a business education, you can have a healthcare education. And if I leave one out, someone's going to yell at me. you can do our School of Education as well. So comprehensive means exactly what it sounds like. It's not a single focus institution anymore. And it's taken the better part of a century for that evolution to occur.
You know, when I think of Slippery Rock, of course, I think of its name. I mean, what a unique name. What's the origin of it?
Well, it's named after the Slippery Rock Creek. And the legend of the Slippery Rock Creek is during the French and Indian War. The British were running across the creek in their heavy boots, and they were able to get across the creek. When they were being chased by some Native American soldiers who had lighter shoes on, they slipped on the rocks. Thus, they called it the Slippery Rock Creek, and our name comes from that. What's kind of funny is last year during March Madness, I think it was the Chronicle of Higher Education created a bracket of unique college names, and every week someone would vote, and the bracket would get smaller, and Slippery Rock won.
Slippery Rock,
yeah.
The #1 unique name for a college or university in America.
So that was fun. That was a lot of
that's
fun.
Great. I love hearing that story. Yeah. You know, for students attending Slippery Rock and any of our state universities, and let's back up a second because a lot of people won't know SHE, which stands for the state what? The State Higher Education.
It's PASHE actually.
PASHE.
The PA State Higher Education. So it's PASHE is the
All right,
system.
let's not forget Pennsylvania. We should add that in. But what is our state university system? What's that all about?
Okay, there are actually two different categories of state-supported schools. Actually, three if you count community colleges. But four-year schools, there are two different. There's the state-related institutions. That's Penn State, Temple, Lincoln, and Pitt.
Gotcha.
They get state funding, but honestly don't have the same level of regulation that the PASHE schools have.
And they're generally regarded as more private institutions?
They behave more like private institutions. They're in that sort of quasi area where they get substantial state dollars, but they're not regulated in the same way as we are.
And then there's you.
Then there's us. There are 14 schools in the PASHE system, many of which have a very similar history to Slippery Rock. They began as normal schools, because normal schools in the 1800s were actually proposed and supported by the local community. So they popped up around the state.
To educate teachers.
Yes, and then they evolved into comprehensive schools. And so there's 14 of us, and
in
then
this
we
area,
have a chancellor.
Yeah, this area we have California University, Indiana University, Slippery Rock, Clarion.
And Edinburgh.
And Edinburgh.
Yes.
So what makes Slippery Rock stand out?
As you know, I got here in July. And I have to give all the credit to the folks who came before me. Philip Way, who was our interim president, he's our provost now. Cheryl Norton, who came before him. They saw that we were going to have a decline in traditional college-age students. So they were very prescient, and they said, okay, if we're going to see that decline, how do you balance that? And they built some extraordinary graduate programs in advance of that, so that as other schools saw significant declines, every school in our region has seen significant declines, except for Slippery Rock.
Right.
And our undergraduate population has dipped a bit as the demographics have dipped a bit, but they were able to put in place graduate programs that built our enrollment on that side, so we've been able to balance it. And I think that's what's put us in a really, really extraordinary situation.
So, bottom line is, people should think of Slippery Rock as not just an undergraduate institution, but with graduate programs for those.
Yes, we're primarily undergraduate. Of those 9,000, about 7,500 are undergraduate.
Right.
But what this has done, though, is because they made a smart investment, we have some reasonable tuition revenue, so we can now reinvest in all of our programs, including our undergraduate programs.
Gotcha.
So we have moved from just a couple of years ago having 2 engineering programs to next year having 4, and I suspect in about 3 years having 6.
Wow. We only have a minute or two left, but let me ask you about the funding
Yes.
problem, because it is a significant problem. And I can say it, I'm not sure what freedom you have to say it, but Pennsylvania underfunds, our state legislature underfunds our schools of higher learning, including Slippery Rock and the state system. How bad is it from your perspective, as someone coming into it for the first time?
That's a fair question. And I'm hesitant to use the word underfunds, because of the position I'm in, to be honest with you.
No,
but I will tell you that if you compare us to the other states in the union, we are funded lower than most. I think we're 49th.
49th out of 50. I mean, that's a disgrace.
Yeah.
And why the state legislature allows that to happen, I mean, I think we all know why these things happen.
And I'm sure they're juggling a variety of issues. So what I've tried to think about is how can we control our own destiny? And so how can we build our program so that we get more students, that students want to come here? One of the challenges, though, is because we are in a system. If Slippery Rock does well, doing less well, the competition for the state dollars is such that other school is likely to get a bit more proportionally.
Right.
And that's simply to keep them afloat.
And that doesn't reward good behavior.
It's a struggle for us, honestly. And that's our chancellor, if he were sitting here, would tell you that that's probably our main struggle, is figuring out what it means to be a system. To what extent are we independent schools, and to what extent are we interdependent schools?
Well, bottom line is that Slippery Rock is a great,
fantastic place.
and I can't thank you enough, Dr. Bill Berry, for taking time to come in and talk with us. And we'll have you back in a year or so that you can tell us all the new things.
Anytime you want me back.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you again.